Is Cole Palmer set to return against Leeds? What do Chelsea do without the suspended Moises Caicedo? And I'll be talking about the current left-back star that Chelsea are actively looking to sign. We've got a ton of things to break down, so very quickly, my guys, I need to promote two videos I'm very proud of. That's tonight's upload discussing the monthly recap in November, and make sure you guys check out my conversational piece on Project 2030 at the football club. Check it out, you'll find it in the cards above. And finally, my friends, obviously with Christmas fast approaching, if you guys are looking to secure any gifts for yourselves or your loved ones, take advantage of some of the current sales around right now. Of course, Cyber Week, you can get 25% off these selected discount lines. And on top of that, the club do have a really interesting and quite sentimental Christmas collection. Some of the jumpers look quite nice. I'm actually kind of tempted to get some of them, you guys, for myself. So all you guys need to know is that there is something for everyone on the Club Mega Store. And if you guys want to buy something, use my affiliate links in the card above or description and use Nini10 at checkout to get a full 10% off your final order, my friends. So that's the first report out of the way. And let's discuss today's news. My friends, we discuss, I don't know why I paused then, we discuss the key talking points from the press conference. I'm going to distill things, get straight down into things, and naturally we want to understand, is Cole Palmer playing against Leeds tomorrow? As Maresca himself has said, Cole Palmer right now is ready to start games. That is promising news. That's the news we want to hear. Because for myself here, going into the Christmas period, having Cole Palmer is basically like having a new signing coming into the team. And to have a guy of his caliber coming at this crucial crunch time is the best thing for our hopes in the month of December. Maresca was being coy though. We don't know necessarily whether he starts. I think he does. And he would have got minutes against Arsenal if we didn't go down to 10 men. So right now, as Maresca says, he wants to build up his fitness, build up his performance on the field as well too, and he can only do that by playing games. So expect to see Cole Palmer in some capacity against Leeds. Outside of that, when it comes to team news as well, we know that Asugo currently is kind of slowing down a bit with his rehab. At the moment, it seems like maybe he might be, maybe the club are having some concerns around his fitness. They don't want to overdo things, so he's out for an even longer period. We don't want another Romeo Lavia situation at this football club. Let's keep it real. So let's wait to see what he does. But maybe January, February is when he comes back into the fold. So that's like really the main team news. But in terms of some of the key points from the presser, I like that Maresca, gave his dues to Robert Sanchez. I think right now, Robert Sanchez deserves a crap ton of love. He has to be rated highly right now because the consistency he's shown throughout 2025, you can't ignore it anymore. Some of these insecure talks around his prior form, that's in the past right now. The new version of Robert Sanchez we are seeing is a completely different animal to the guy from old. And as I keep saying, it feels like he's looked in the mirror one day and realized, you know what, I'm 6'6", I'm 6'7". Why am I listening to these haters who don't know nothing, who can't even look me in the eye? You know what I mean? I'm also a multi-millionaire and I got a model wife. Reality's kind of slapped into him recently, it seems like. That's my only explanation for the form we're seeing right now. But going back to Maresca says, you know what? Yes, Sanchez is improving, but you know what I like? It's his distribution. Against Arsenal, for me, might be one of his best games from a distribution point of view, which is saying quite a lot considering he put in a masterclass, in my opinion, for his standards against Paris Saint-Germain in the summer. So he has actively been putting in that work on his distribution, and you guys are seeing it when he's playing passes from his goal to release your Cucureas and the fullbacks. Last year, you guys, they were going off the pitch, sometimes out the stadium. So that's a clear marker of this guy's improvements. And obviously for the final key conversation points, what do we do around Moises Caicedo's absence due to his suspension? Now, he'll miss the next 3 games due to the straight red card. It's annoying. No Romeo Lavia, no Asugo. Maresca propped up Andre Santos. Santos is a 6. He can play in that position. And Since Maresca's kind of allowed Santos to play in his most familiar role at the moment, is it any surprise that this guy is really showcasing some impressive form, especially after that superb showcase against Barney where he picked up man of the match? Now, I do believe he can definitely fulfill that Enzo role. And you know what? He'll probably end up being that hybrid where sometimes he does a bit of Enzo, sometimes he does a bit of Caicedo. And I think having that type of personnel on your squad, it's only increasing the levels, right? So naturally expect to see Santos deeper, but I guess unnaturally we could also maybe see Josh Achimpong also getting opportunities. Maresca saying, listen, I've used him there last season in the Conference League. He's someone that impresses when he's inverted. He's also someone that can perform that role. And, you know, if he wants to get some minutes in the team, maybe Achimpong might be getting used out of position outside of playing as a centre-back every single game. But in my opinion, I got no qualms. We got Cucurella, who inverted beautifully against Burnley too. He can also play that pivot role. And we also have Reece James, who's not only a complete fullback, but is also looking like a complete midfield player too. So my friends, share your thoughts and opinions on Maresca's key points in the press conference, because right now, we have an interesting story to discuss. Naturally, at Chelsea Football Club, there's always going to be reports around players we are showing interest in. And my friends, you guys need to get on to this left back we're looking at from Santos. Now, it has been reported from many outlets in Brazil and outlets in Spain as well too, but Chelsea Football Club are looking to potentially recruit left back in Victor Souza from Santos FC. Now, that's going to be a really interesting buy in my opinion, because obviously this won't be for our first team squad. Let's get that straight and let's understand the details. But you know what, you guys, I'm just kind of thinking about the potential strategy behind a potential move. I'm saying potential too much. I don't like it, but come on, man. It's the football club. But my thinking is, look at the business we did with Sporting Lisbon to get Kenda and Asugo, boosting our profile in Portugal for any possibilities of Sporting Lisbon in the distant future. Look at some of the business we've done to help Strasbourg through the use of Blueco. There's been many rumours coming out for a while now, suggesting that the club may want to add Santos as part of a club under our network, and with Santos hovering around the relegation spots right now, this could be a great opportunity to maybe get a sleeping giant that needs a bit of investment, that needs a bit of TLC, that needs the right experts to be able to get that club back and firing. And would it make sense maybe to look at one of their most promising players this season, a player that, listen, there's been a managerial merry-go-round at Santos. It's the third manager, but one consistent thing has been Victor Souza continues to be the star on the left. I think it's 25 games, 2 assists, 1 goal, and he's the archetype Brazilian fullback that what us guys love to see in the game, right? Enthusiastic going forward, great pace. He's like what, 6'1", 6'6" already at 18 years old. No, at 19 years old, excuse me. And at the moment, he's been heavily followed by clubs like Barcelona and Bayern Munich. But the difference between them and us is the fact that when we're interested in you, we're going to start making those formalities become a reality, right? And reports confirm the fact that Chelsea have already been trying to discuss engineering a transfer for the player. That's big news. Now, this report comes from AS, as I said, you guys, right here. No, wrong report. My guys, sorry about that. That'll be the final story. So make sure you guys stay locked in right to the end, right? But at the moment, this kid has a 50 million euro release clause. And most times we aren't activating release clauses when we like Brazilian stars. We come back in for them in the future, right? Of course, Barca, Bayern, showing a lot of interest. But we've been the only one that has looked to try and make this move happen, because we got Todd Bowley, who gave the sign-off, the green light, to engineer this move and make it happen. Now, in the summer, it was revealed that we actually tried to make that move happen back then, but it does seem like waiting for the Brazil season to end would be the best time to make a move. So we're basically doing first dibs to try and engineer and get this move over the line right. The plan naturally is that this would be a purchase under Blue Car, with the player then making a move to Strasbourg. The fact that this has been proposed to the kids during the summer already, I think tells me that he understands the playbook. And I think, sorry, man, we now push Strasbourg to the exciting youth talents. No agent, no player, no one, no family is ignoring the great work we are doing at Strasbourg, yeah? Eventually, Strasbourg are gonna sell you Moreras, probably Ben Jewels, Barcos, players of that, nature are going to be sold on for profit or go to bigger clubs. It's the nature of the game. So we have to stay a step ahead and ensure that we always have someone on the conveyor belt. We always have someone on the pipeline. And I think this explains the news that we're seeing around this really exciting kid. Listen, man, let's not be insecure, but even in our squad, it's been alluded to already, but there could be a possibility in the future that Cucurella and his family, they want to go back to Barcelona and Spain. Cucurella has personally always been a bit aggrieved at how he left Barcelona because he never got an opportunity. He was kind of cast out prematurely. One day he'll go back there. That's how I see it happening, right? So we need to prepare for that future. And it does seem like we're set potentially in the short, medium, and long term. Short term, Cucurella. Medium term, Hato. And long term, that battle between Denaire. Maybe Souza if he comes through. And of course, Hato as well. So what's your thoughts on Souza? Does he look exciting to you guys? Do you trust just the scouting at the club? Do you just trust that when the club see an eye for a talent, yeah, most times it's the right purchase and it's the right buy? Let me know how you're feeling. But right now, my friends, we got to discuss the predicted lineup for the game against Leeds. You're seeing my lineup on screen. I'm going to explain the reasoning behind why I've picked this. It's come down to a few reasons. Now, naturally, after a very intense game against Arsenal, a game in which we had a man disadvantage, you need to rotate effectively, but not too much, because I don't think we're at that point where, let's say, a full B team could replace these guys and maintain those standards. They need to kind of be blended in with some of the big guys. So this is why I've gone for this lineup, because we have to respect the fact we're away against Leeds. It's a historic derby. Leeds will be up for this as well too. And they've also been quite interesting opposition in the league so far. Now, this month, forget Arsenal, forget Barcelona. December, for me, has always been that key point of a season that really just communicates whether you're ready to really push for the title. Leeds is a big challenge, and we have a game every 3 days, 8 games, 3 different cup competitions. It's not going to be easy whatsoever. So I have to see a blend of rotation. That's why Sanchez obviously starts, one of the best keepers in the league so far this season, I have to say. Defense, I've gone for Badia and Chalobah. Now, originally, you guys, I did have Achimpong. I did have Badia, but I thought to myself, defending is more about the relationship together compared to having great individuals. And I think the reason why Chalobah for fun have been cooking differently so far is because of this amazing understanding and partnership they have. I haven't seen Achimpong and Badia do that enough. So can I use a brand new partnership like that? I'm not too sure. I'm playing it safe. I'm going to have Chalobah alongside Badia, and Achimpong can come on to replace Gusto near the end, right? Obviously, Gusto, Cucurella, they speak for themselves. Reece James needs a rest after that midfield masterclass. What a player this guy is. This takes us forward now to the midfield, and I think the safe option we're going to see is going to be Enzo, supported by Andre Santos. Now, Santos, phenomenal showcase against Burnley. Another opportunity now for him to really just flex his abilities in front of Enzo Maresca, now that Moises won't be bothering him for the next 3 games. Let's watch that space. Could Santos, if he goes on a great run, maybe even force conversations like, oh, Enzo, maybe I don't have to use it every game because Santos is that guy, and maybe I might use different attacking players. Let's see. It's so hypothetical, but, right now, this is a moment for Andre Santos to really mark himself even more on the team and just kind of push forth his importance right now. Up front, in attack, this is where things get interesting. Now, I'm going for Cole Palmer. I just think to myself, I'd rather Palmer starts compared to coming on as a sub. especially because you don't know how the game's going to go, right? I think with Palmer starting and coming off maybe 45th, 50th minute, whatever, at least he has more influence to be able to kind of help the team more. Supporting him, I've gone for Esteval on the right. I think when he came off against Arsenal, obviously tactical reasons, but I think he was also being stored in mind for the game against Leeds. And I've gone for Jamie Gittins because I think Pedro Neto has been quite intense. He's done quite a lot recently. Let this guy maybe have a little rest, come on as a sub. Garnacho has been quite good, but we have seen Maressa kind of like healthily rotate his wingers this season. And Jamie Gittins has always really impressed me. And I think maybe even having his type of like specialist 1v1 skills in those transitional moments against Leeds could maybe offer us something interesting as an option. And for this game, I feel like maybe a bit of power, having more of like a classic focal point, could be the way to go. Hence why I've gone for a Liam Delap, not only to help us out from set pieces, but I think to really just occupy and bully the Leeds defenders. Originally, you guys, I was even thinking about maybe having a Joao Pedro in the Cole Palmer position, but I think, you know what, Pedro maybe come on to end this game, or maybe replace Palmer later on. That's what I would prefer to see. I gave my reasons, but I think that powerful option that is the focal point that the attacking guys can play off with, Gittins putting in crosses, Esteval, Palmer hopefully combining, playing off of Liam Delap. That mixture of like pace and technique and power, that will be enough to hopefully get the result tomorrow against Leeds. So that's my opinions on the lineup, my friends. Give me your thoughts and opinions on the lineup below, because right now we're going to end things with the final interesting story today as it focuses on yet again another Brazilian star that really did big things at the Under-17 World Cup. My friends, you're seeing things. Today I'll be discussing Luis Eduardo, 17 years old, but he turns 18 in January. He hasn't officially made any first team appearances just yet for gremio, but he has been training quite a lot, and he's especially close now to stepping up into the team, especially after what he was doing in the Under-17 World Cup. Now, I thought with this comp I'm using, he gave a really good impression when he compared guys like Lacroix, Kusanov and co. to the style of defender that Eduardo is. In that Fofana mode, that proactive style defender that can leave his lines, win his duels ridiculously fast. They're saying that he's clocking in at least like 38 kilometers per hour, one of the fastest records so far in Brazil. He's tall already, like 188 centimeters, probably will grow even more as well too, but he's rated for his tenacity. He's rated for his leadership, his mentality, the aggression he has to always win his duels, his ground defending mixed with his aerial prowess as well too. Now, this is obviously not going to be a signing for the first team. It's going to be for Strasbourg because, listen, if Saar does come, there are going to be other options in which we can strengthen Strasbourg defensively over the years. And as I keep saying, if you're a young talent, especially from South America, Strasbourg is kind of communicating that they're one of the best environments for, Latin American talents now to really just like get acclimatized to Europe, be in a safe environment and play football that actually gets the best out of you and complements your game. I don't think those details can be ignored. Now, it's interesting because, again, this is another AS report. And essentially, Man United are also showing a lot of interest around this kid, right? He has a release clause of 60 million euros. It doesn't mean much because these guys never go for that value. But I just kind of find it funny that United now, after kind of, not, I wouldn't even say poaching, but I might sound a little bit rude. Maybe signing like our staff discards and your Vivels and your Macauley's is interesting that they clearly want to copy our model. They've now kind of bought some of our ex-staff guys. I keep noticing a lot of reports linking us with the same players right now. That's pretty funny to me. Just food for thought though. But right now we have a lot more motion than Man United's, and we can offer a lot more of a safety net that you're going to have a great career regardless if it's with us. It will be in this game if you're a serious player. But you know what? I think a lot of teams now, they want to have these defensive dominators, guys that eat up the yards with ridiculous amounts of pace, but can also play out from the back. They're also technically strong in the air as well too. I'm noticing a lot of these like flipping runners in defense right now. Are these scouting systems now kind of getting like guys who would have played maybe up front or played maybe out wide and got them now to acclimatize the game to play more defensively? It could make a lot of sense, right? Because this kid does look quite impressive, if I'm being honest with you, especially with just his like defensive proactiveness, how he's always like, look how he just gets tight to close down the cross then, or close down the spaces. There's like a real authority behind how he does that. And he does rank really high for some of these defensive stats and numbers. Maybe not as much in interceptions, but in terms of like defensive engagement metrics, he is ranking very, very high with things like recoveries and co. And listen, man, a right-footed centre-back that's still going to grow, that can play out from the back with those line breakers, that allows you to play with the high line because of the stupid pace he has. You know what? If you're playing Football Manager right now, this kid might have like, what, 17, 18 pace? If you're seeing that on your screen, 9 times out of 10, you're signing someone like that. And I guess that's what we do now. We do Football Manager and real life with these wonder kids. So my friends, that's all the stories and reports today. Get involved in the comments. And most importantly, you guys, show some love to some of the new types of videos and series I'm really serious about, really caring for. The algorithm doesn't always help me as much these days. It is what it is, but I'm not trying to be negative or be in my feelings about it. It's motivating me to kind of be more ambitious, and I hope you guys are going to kind of see those efforts too. So love, my friends, and I'll catch you guys tomorrow match day, and I'll catch you for the watch along an hour before the game. Cool.